I'll never forget the moment my phone buzzed that sunny Saturday afternoon, the panic in my guest's voice cutting through the calm of my weekend. There's some lady banging on the door, yelling that we're trespassing. Sarah, a sweet schoolteacher who'd rented my Airbnb for her family's getaway, sounded like she was caught in a storm. I could hear in the background fists pounding my front door like a drum, and a sharp, furious voice slicing through the air. "You're not welcome here. This is a respectable neighborhood. I'm calling the cops right now." My stomach sank. I knew that voice. It was Linda Harper, the neighbor 2 houses down, the self-crowned queen of our HOA. I told Sarah to stay cool and promised I'd be there in 10. By the time I screeched into my driveway, a police cruiser was already parked out front, its lights lazily flashing. Linda stood there, arms crossed, foot tapping, looking like she'd just won the lottery. She didn't know it yet, but her little power trip was about to crash and burn. Let me back up. 2 years ago, I bought a cozy 3-bedroom house just outside town, a charming spot with a big backyard, perfect for families wanting a quiet escape close to city attractions. I travel a lot for work, so instead of letting the place sit empty, I listed it on Airbnb. I did my homework, got all the city permits, paid the taxes, even installed noise monitors to keep things respectful. The county and city greenlit short-term rentals, and our HOA bylaws, not a word against it. I checked. For 6 months, it was smooth sailing families, business travelers, 5-star RVYUs. Then Linda Harper got elected HOA president, and my little side gig became her personal vendetta. Linda was the kind of neighbor who'd measure your grass with a ruler and snap photos of cars parked an inch off center. She once called animal control on a VY sighting therapy dog because it looked shady. When she won the HOA presidency, mostly because no one else wanted the job, she acted like she'd been handed a scepter. Suddenly, my Airbnb was destroying the neighborhood. 2 days after that first cop VY sit, a sloppy letter slid under my door. HOA logo slapped on top, claiming all commercial active VY ties were banned. No such rule existed, but Linda signed it with flair. Saw President and Chief Compliance Officer saw. I laughed, tucked it away, and started keeping a file. EVY Denke, I figured, might come in handy. Things got uglier. The next weekend, an elderly couple staying at my place found nasty notes on their car. "Tourists go home," and "You're ruining our community." My security camera caught Linda sneaking around at 5 a.m., looking like a bad spy, MOVY EVY lane. When I called her out, she smoothed her fancy jacket and sniffed. "I'm protecting property values from saw outsiders saw." I pointed out her outsiders were a retired couple celebrating their 50th anniversary, not party animals. She just huffed and said she'd drag my illegal hotel to the next HOA meeting. I smiled. Can't wait to be there. What Linda didn't know was I'd already checked with other HOA board members who confirmed my rentals were fine. But she didn't let up. She filed noise complaints when my house was empty. She stalked my guests, snapping photos like a private eye. She even cornered a family in my driveway, grilling them about their intentions in our exclusive neighborhood. One family cut their trip short after Linda trailed their kids to the community playground, barking that it was residents only. I was furious but stayed calm, documenting everything. The HOA meeting was a circus. Linda marched in with a binder labeled SAW, EVY Denke SAW, packed with blurry guest photos, wild charts about suspicious occupancy, and a nutty claim my Airbnb was tanking property values by 14.2 fan tram. She ranted for 20 minutes, while VYing her binder like a preacher. When my turn came, I laid out city permits, tax receipts for 0.9-star guest VYUs praising how quiet my place was. I handed out copies of my paperwork and dropped the bomb. Linda says my permit's fake, but I recorded the city clerk confirming it's valid. Want to hear it? The room went dead quiet. Linda's jaw flapped, but no words came out. The meeting moved on to pool hours, but I knew she wasn't done. Memorial Day weekend brought the explosion. I had a lovely family book the Thompsons from Ohio in town for a wedding. They checked in Friday, no issues, though my camera caught Linda peeking from her curtains. I texted them a heads up about our enthusiastic HOA president and my number for emergencies. They brushed it off, saying they could handle a nosy neighbor. Big mistake. Saturday morning, while the Thompsons ate breakfast on the patio, Linda struck. My doorbell cam recorded her charging across my lawn, sunglasses perched on her head, clutching a stack of papers. She hammered the door so hard, I thought it'd crack. "I know you're in there. Vacate now. This rental's illegal, and I've got proof." Mrs. Thompson opened the door, calm but firm. Linda tried to shove past her, yelling, "I'm the HOA president. I can evict trespassers." Mr. Thompson stepped in, blocking her. "Ma'am, we're legal renters. Back off." Linda whipped out her phone, screeching, "I'm calling 911. You're getting hauled out." She was so caught up in her drama, she didn't notice Mr. Thompson filming or the police cruiser rolling by on patrol. See, I'd already tipped off the local PD about Linda's harassment, filing a report with weeks of evict. I told the Thompsons to keep their rental papers handy and call me if she showed up. The patrol car stopped Officers Bennett and Carter, the latter knowing Linda from her half-dozen false reports. "We got a disturbance call," Bennett said. Linda spun around, practically glowing. "Yes, these illegals need to go," she cried, jabbing a finger at the Thompsons. Carter sighed like he'd aged a decade. I pulled up just then, clutching my own folder permits, agreements, a log of Linda's stunts. I handed it over and greeted the officers. "You know the deal here." Carter tried to calm Linda, who was pacing and ranting about neighborhood standards. When no one backed her, she lost it, storming onto my lawn, screaming she'd call the mayor and get everyone fired. I'd had enough. "Linda, you're trespassing. Leave my property and stop harassing my guests." Her eyes bulged. "How sao de sao you? I run this neighborhood." Carter stepped in. "Ma'am, the homeowner asked you to leave. Go home." Linda planted her feet. "Not until they're gone. I know my rights." Then it happened the moment I'll replay forever. Officer Bennett, after reviewing my papers, walked up. "Ma'am, we've got multiple harassment complaints against you. You've been warned about false reports. You're trespassing, you tried to force entry, and you're wasting emergency resources. Turn around, hand behind your back." Linda's face froze in shock. "This is outrageous. Do you know who I am?" she shrieked as Bennett cuffed her, reading her rights while neighbors gawked. "I'll have your jobs." The Thompsons stood in the doorway, jaws dropped, as Linda was led to the cruiser, still yelling. Later, I filed a formal HOA complaint backed by 3 months of VYDO, dense false complaints, guest harassment, trespassing, the works. I included statements from guests who'd endured Linda's wrath. But the real game changer? Neighbors finally spoke up. The couple across the street said Linda reported their kid for playing basketball past 7 p.m. An old man down the block got a lecture for growing tomatoes. A college kid confessed Linda tailed her to work, suspecting an unauthorized roommate. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, kicked Linda out as president, and apologized to me and my guests, confirming rentals were allowed. Linda faced charges, harassment, trespassing, attempted breaking and entering, false reports. She posted due la $5,000 bail, dodging cameras as local news dubbed her the Airbnb vigilante. Her plea deal? 2 years probation, a due la $5,000 fine, community ser VYC, and a 100-foot ban from my property. In court, her mask cracked. "I was protecting our community," she sobbed, mascara running. "This ruins my reputation. What about my country club?" The judge was ice cold. "Maybe learn the difference between leadership and harassment, Miss Harper." As Linda shot me a final, venomous glare, I felt a strange mix of relief and VY-tory. My Airbnbs still thrive VYing, and the neighborhood's quieter without her patrols. But it makes you wonder what drives someone to go this far. Was Linda really about community, or was it just control? Should HOAs have this much power over our homes? And what would you do if a neighbor like her targeted you? Fight back or move on? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood sagas. Let's hear it. What's your take?